She always believed that betrayal had a specific sound, a slammed door, a broken glass, the sharp rise of a guilty voice. But when it finally arrived in her life, it came silently, slipping through the cracks of routine and familiarity like a cold draft she couldn't quite locate. Emma and Ryan had been together for 3 years. Not perfect, not dramatic, just steady. The kind of steady that makes you think you've outrun the chaos of dating and landed somewhere safe. They shared a small but warm apartment, a joint savings jar for future trips, and the type of inside jokes that made even dull days feel softer. So when Ryan first mentioned a big work project that would require late nights and occasional weekends, Emma didn't question it. He worked in marketing, deadlines were unpredictable. She kissed him goodbye at the door each evening, told him to drive safe, and warmed leftovers for herself with the TV humming in the background. But little shifts have a way of piling up. It began with the clothes. He used to come home with the faint smell of printer ink and coffee from the office. Now he returned scented with something warmer, something floral. At first she thought maybe someone in his department changed perfumes, but the scent lingered too close to him, clung too deeply to his hoodie when she hugged him. Then came the way he guarded his phone, a device he used to leave face up, unlocked, and utterly uninteresting. Now it was always in his pocket, screen dimmed, alerts silenced, and when it did buzz, head turned slightly away, thumb tapping rapidly, jaw tightening for half a second before he forced a casual smile. Still, she said nothing. She wanted to trust him more than she wanted to investigate him. The moment everything shifted happened on a rainy Thursday night. Ryan had left for another project meeting, his backpack slung over his shoulder. Emma curled on the couch with tea and opened her laptop to answer some emails. She wasn't suspicious, not until she received a notification. Your devices. Ryan's iPad is requesting access to your shared photo folder. She froze. Ryan didn't even use the shared folder. She accepted the request out of reflex. But what loaded next felt like the universe slapping a truth directly into her hands. A photo appeared, unedited, casually taken, probably by accident. Ryan, sitting on a bed that wasn't theirs, his arm loosely around the waist of a woman Emma recognized instantly. Leah, his ex. The woman he insisted was just a past chapter, someone he hadn't spoken to in years. The timestamp made Emma's skin prickle. Saturday. The same Saturday he claimed he had a presentation to finish. Another photo sensed after it, Leah lying next to him, her head on his chest, her fingers laced with his. Their smiles weren't guilty. They looked comfortable, familiar, practiced. The world didn't crash, it went quiet. Emma stared at the photos until the edges blurred. Her heart didn't race, her breath didn't quicken. Instead, a kind of cold clarity settled inside her. Like everything finally clicked into place. She didn't call him, didn't scream, didn't send the photos to his phone with a string of curses. She simply closed the laptop and let the silence speak for her. Over the next few days, she became a ghost in her own home, but a purposeful one. She went to work as usual, smiled when necessary, and returned home to a man who had no idea the clock was ticking on his comfort. She began gathering her things at night while he slept, small items first. Sentimental jewelry, documents, her passport, important folders, the ring she didn't wear but kept for sentimental reasons. She packed her clothes methodically, leaving just enough to avoid suspicion. She found a new apartment across the city, a tiny studio with pale brick walls and a balcony that caught the morning sun. She signed the contract in silence. She arranged movers 2 days later. All the while, Ryan continued his charade. One night, he even came home earlier than expected, wrapped his arms around her, and kissed her cheek. Thanks for being patient with my schedule, he murmured. This project is killing me. She smiled gently, the way someone smiles at a stranger who bumps into them on the street. It'll be over soon, she said, and she meant it differently. On the final night before her move, she printed the 2 photos from the shared folder. She didn't write a dramatic message or a long explanation. She simply attached a sticky note on each. Your work project, your weekend presentation. Then she placed both on the kitchen counter where he couldn't possibly miss them. The next morning, she left before dawn. Movers carried her last boxes out swiftly, leaving no trace behind except the faint imprint of where her belongings used to sit. She locked the door behind her, slid her key under it, and walked away without once looking back. Ryan's first call came at 9:17 a.m., the second at 9:20, the third, a frantic string of messages. Then came anger, accusations, pleas, explanations, lies tangled with half-truths and desperation. Emma didn't respond to any of them. When he finally texted something honest, "I'm sorry. I messed up. Please talk to me," she muted the conversation, not out of cruelty, but out of necessity. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is refuse to hand someone the drama they were expecting. She spent her first night in the studio with takeout noodles and the soft glow of a lampshade, bought years ago. She didn't feel triumphant. She didn't feel broken either. She felt free in the quiet, steady way freedom often begins. Weeks passed. Eventually the messages stopped. Friends updated her indirectly. Ryan had moved out of their old place, ended things with Leah, and told people he didn't know how everything fell apart. But Emma knew better. Things don't fall apart. People let go of them. She rebuilt her life piece by piece. She met new people, explored new routines, learned the joy of making decisions without waiting for someone else's schedule to align. She realized how much of herself she had dimmed to keep the peace. The betrayal didn't define her. Her response to it did. And so, when someone once asked her how she managed to leave so quietly, she smiled softly and said, "Because staying would have made more noise." And that was the truth she carried forward, a reminder that the strongest exits aren't dramatic. They're decisive.